Even though it appears to be a hard day, we are not giving up. Good morning and welcome home to yourself. Welcome home to the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living. The month of June is a new month for us, and we are dealing with the theme this month of embracing self-care. And today we're going to look at the evolution of self-care, and I've added a tagline, no self-care without action. You know, in this teaching, in this philosophy, we often use the term treat and move your feet, which means we pray, we vision, we create a mental image of what it is that we want to have in life, and then we move our feet. We take action to co-create with Spirit to bring about the desires that we want in our lives. I'd like to acknowledge Reverend Kathy Nichols, who's stepped in last Sunday and brought our message while I was away. And thank each one of you who came out and supported her, as well as special guests that she brought along with her. June is Pride Month. Last week, Reverend Kathy shared this beautiful quote by Barack Obama, which reads, "When all Americans are treated as equal, no matter who they are or whom they love, we are all more free." And I believe that an essential truth embedded in this quote is a reflection of our Science of Mind teachings and our practices, and that is recognizing the oneness of all life. June is generally when the world's LGBTQIA communities celebrate the freedom to be themselves. Some communities celebrate Pride at the end of May, and others celebrate later in the summer. Here on the Monterey Peninsula, our Pride event is taking place on Saturday, July the 15th. And our center, our Monterey Center, will participate in the spiritual welcoming as we did last year following the Pride Parade. And I'll have more details for you in the upcoming weeks. And I think we will have an opportunity to have a table at the event this year. Pride celebrations honor those whose gender identity falls outside of the mainstream. The honoring and celebration includes straight allies who acknowledge the oneness of all life. The original organizers chose June as the month of celebration to pay homage to the Stonewall Uprising in June of 1969 in New York, which helped spark the gay rights movement. So we say happy Pride to all of our fellow LGBTQIA plus individuals. This month, as I mentioned earlier, our theme is embracing self-care. Self-care is an integral part of our human experience. Our evolution depends on our commitment to self-care. My time away began with the funeral for my aunt in Sacramento, followed by officiating a wedding in Santa Rosa. So there was the emotions of both sadness and joy embedded in those two events. And this was followed by some playtime. And those of you who know me know that play is one of my spiritual practices. So I had some playtime and then some quiet time for reflection and self-care. Because of the compacted activities that I put together, I feel like I need another vacation from the vacation. But that will happen a little bit later in the year. To live life to the fullest, self-care has to be a daily practice. We could actually view it as a daily spiritual practice. And this helps us to remember who we are and to be more available to unlock our unlimited possibilities when we harness the potential of our real being as individualized expressions of the one life. Through self-awareness of the mind, body, and spirit connection, We realize and we recognize that we are a perfect entity, and that we have all that we need within for our unlimited success and unconditional love. And I want to say this again. Through self-awareness of our mind, body, and spirit connection, we realize that we are a perfect entity and that we already have within ourselves unlimited success and unconditional love. And this is where the action takes place. So once we recognize this, that we have it within, then we can go out and show up in the world as an expression of unlimited success and unconditional love. A little bit about the evolution of self-care. I found this very interesting. Self-care started in the medical field, of all places. An aspect of this evolution occurred in the 1950s with medical professionals designing activities to encourage patients to see their worth. Designing activities to encourage patients to see their worth. Seeing their worth would in turn help the patient cultivate healthier habits, such as eating healthier, exercising to maintain a better physical and mental state. And by doing this, patients released unsupportive habits that were contrary to the rules of self-preservation. This is even true today and has expanded to other activities of life, encouraging the practice of self-care to continue the pursuit of our dreams and our goals. When we are coming from a place of rest, we take that time to fill our own cup, then we can give from that place of overflow. You may have heard the expression that we cannot give from an empty cup. We have to fill our own cup first before we can give to another. And this is where the importance of self-care comes into practice. Our Science of Mind teaching and practices is grounded in the power of our spiritual beingness and an understanding that we are having a human experience. Our mind has a greater influence on how we experience this life. I think it was Jack Addington that coined the phrase, "It all begins in mind," or at least he wrote a book titled, "It All Begins in Mind." And this is the inspiration for my tagline, "No self-care without action." As we unlock the mind's possibilities to create an ideal life experience, we use the tools of Science of Mind to take action to experience a joyful, peaceful, and thriving life. These tools include our daily spiritual practices, our affirmations, our meditation practices, spiritual mind treatment, and much more. By training and feeding the mind with creative thoughts that build and strengthen the body, mind, and spirit connection, recognize that these three, even though they appear as separate entities, they work in companionship with each other, the spirit, mind, body connection. By feeding our spirit, our mind, and our body with creative thoughts, we're building strength and we're developing our self-worth awareness, which is allowing us to be the whole person that we have come here to be. Our commitment to self-care affects not just our life, it also affects the lives of the people and the places that we surround ourselves with. Remember, we're not just here for ourselves, we are here for the whole. And I offer these supporting quotes from our Science of Mind and New Thought literature that remind us that action is a part of our practice. Ernest Holmes writes this in the Science of Mind textbook. Our first discovery was our ability to think, plan, and execute. Action. We think, we plan, we execute. Also from the Science of Mind textbook, Dr. Holmes offers this: I am perfect. no matter what my appearance may be. I am perfect, no matter what my appearance may be. That in itself is a powerful daily affirmation. I am perfect, no matter what my appearance may be. Ralph Waldo Emerson offers this: to be yourself in a world constantly trying to make you something else is a great accomplishment. And then from Rumi, stop acting so small. You are the universe in a static motion. I often look to nature from examples also to support the presentations that I bring to you. And I read this particular example and I thought about it and I go, it's about bees in motion. And we witness, especially now in the spring season leading into the summer, we see the bees active in the plants and in the flowers that are around us. This I did not know. Sometimes bees fall asleep in flowers, their bellies filled with nectar. And this reminded me of those situations where I may be food intoxicated from a huge meal, whether it's a lunch or a dinner, and all I want to do is just go crawl up and take me a nice long nap. Bees are foragers, and they're responsible for collecting the nectar and the pollen to take back to the hive. Rather than returning to the hive for a nap, they make themselves comfortable for a few minutes or even a few hours before returning home. How often do we need that little time out before we move on to the next activity, and we don't give ourselves that time out? So let us hear it for bee self-care, and let us take a lesson from the bees. Another example that I came across was the story about Master Falconer Rodney Stotts, S-T-O-T-T-S, who mentors young people on the streets, in schools, in parks, and in jails in the Washington, D.C. area. The example that he offers is that showing how the care of injured birds offers them second chances, and how care for marginalized youth who have been similarly injured offers them second chances. One young man said this: I was a bird with a broken wing. Rodney showed me that it's okay to trust, to allow someone to help me heal. And so trust is another aspect of self-care. It allows us to create that space, to create that opening for healing and for our growth. We cannot think about self-care without taking conscious steps towards upholding it. Again, self-care starts in the mind. There is no self-care without the mind. Just as our thoughts are important to experience an ideal life, action is also an important player in the game. The way we perceive ourselves and behave stems from the mind. When we learn to eliminate self-depreciating thoughts that existed before, then that allows thoughts to come through a trained mind, and a trained mind does not allow unsupported thoughts to just flow past without examining them. With conscious practice of our spiritual principles, we learn to train our mind and discover our mind-boggling freedom. Remember, thoughts become things. As we become aware of our spiritual perfection, we tap into the mind's abilities to create the ideal life for us. We understand and come to know that we are part of the microcosm, we're part of the macrocosmos, an individualization of the one. This frees us to live the best life we could have ever imagined. And a key point that I would like to illustrate here is we do not need to model after anyone or anything. We are free to accept our individual perfection. We learn to look within, to come in contact with who we truly are. We harness our potential, and we become the best self we can be. This awareness allows us to see ourselves in a greater light. When the negatives are dissolved, it boosts the possibility in our minds, which improves our love for ourselves. Self-love helps harness thoughts and encourage self-care for ourselves and others. Remember, we are not in this alone. One of our spiritual practices that supports self-care is meditation. Meditation is a focusing technique that improves and tames the mind. One of the mistakes that we often make about meditation, especially I learned this when I first came into this teaching, and I was taking the foundations class. This is where I learned about the techniques of meditation. And my awareness has grown over the years since I took that initial class. Sometimes in the teaching of meditation, it is presented with the technique of controlling the mind. That is not the intent. And this is what I have learned, this is what I have come to discover as my practices have expanded. It is not the intent to control the mind. It is the intent to bring the mind into alignment with the ego. Because the ego is saying, this is something I'm not familiar with. And so it sends a message to the mind that says, I'm not safe here. I'm not comfortable here. And so it is through our practice over time that we develop that technique to embrace the ego and to embrace the mind in a place of collaboration and cooperation. The best part of practicing meditation is that it doesn't require any special tools or a place. It can be done anywhere. Now, when I was first learning meditation, we were taught that to bring the mind-body connection, mind-body-spirit connection into alignment, as newbies, if you will, you want to identify a designated place, a designated time, and my instructor offered that we have meditative music as background to help calm and bring us to that place of centering. And so that was a nice tool as a beginner. But then as I began to expand my awareness and started exploring with other techniques, I discovered that once the mind is accustomed to moving into the space of stillness and silence, it will adjust to the place and the location, wherever that is. And so that opened up a whole new vista for me in the practice of meditation, is that I realized I can do this anywhere. We must be comfortable when engaging in our practice and focusing on our breathing. Focusing on the breath allows us to be mindful of what we're doing, what is happening within, and how we are feeling. And this is the purpose of meditation, to get into touch with that feeling tone that is within us. To recognize that I'm calling forth from within the tools that I need, the support that I need. The practice of meditation may include walking. It may include cooking. It may even include cleaning, to mention a few. With practice, we learn what works for us. And so some other action items that we can engage in our practice of self-care is to be aware that stress affects the mind as much as it affects the body. When possible, avoid stressful situations or pause before going to deal with them. Taking a pause, and this is where we, again, take that moment to connect with the breath. This allows us to think in better ways to resolve the conflict rather than perpetuate it. It isn't often that sometimes we just can't walk away from the conflict. You know, it's there, it's right in our face. And I know for me, when I take that pause, when I take that breath, and when I mentally step back from the confrontation, then there's another vista that opens up for me and possibilities for protecting myself, first of all, and not taking on the energy of the person that I'm engaging with allows me to be in that place of awareness and stillness so that I can respond in a civil manner rather than, as a friend of mine, my birth sign is Leo, and a friend of mine used to say, Leos are generally calm and peaceful and easygoing, but that claw is always on the ready. And so when I find myself in those potential conflict situations, I recognize that I don't want the claw to be engaged this way in attack mode. I want it to be relaxed and to be open so that I can hear with the ear of discernment what the other individual is bringing to the table. And at the same time, I'm asking what may have been my role in this. And sometimes I didn't have anything to do with it. It's something that is totally separate from the situation that is right here in front of you. Sometimes there's something that triggers an individual and brings back a memory from way back. And we sometimes are the object of that remembering. And so in practicing our self-care, in engaging in our spiritual practices and being prepared for those situations that come to us, we are then ready to take that step back, to take that holy breath, to take that pause, and to know that just as I am one with God, this individual or this situation also is an expression of the divine. Another action is to engage in healthy eating, to engage in fun activities that you love, to share time with friends and with loved ones. Shifting your lifestyle will impact every area of your life, which is a result of understanding the importance of caring for yourself. And so our call to action this morning is to remember self-care can be easy to speak about, yet it can be very challenging to practice. Some may think of it as needless and inconsequential. However, it is an important act to add to our spiritual growth. Once you become aware of it, it can't be ignored, especially if you've opened yourselves to the limitless possibilities that lie within and allow us to live fully. And our affirmation for the week, I invite us to say this together. I mindfully fill my cup with the love of who I am. Let us say this again. I mindfully fill my cup with the love of who I am. And let us now turn within. Let us pray together. And we set the tone for this prayerful experience by just taking in a breath, taking in that collective breath, releasing it, and allowing the body to find its own natural rhythmic breathing pattern. Knowing that in the breath, the beloved is expressing itself in and through and as each and every one of us. And so we are gathered this morning in this setting, in this time, in this space. And even though it may be familiar, there is something happening that has never happened here before. There's a new experience that is unfolding. There are new insights that are touching each heart. There are opportunities for new beginnings. There are opportunities to never give up, but to continue moving up. And I know all of this is a reflection of the one life, the one love, the one power, the one essence That is all that there is. And so as we bask in the presence of the beloved, in that inner presence of the beloved within, I'm declaring that everything is unfolding in right and perfect order in our lives. That everything is unfolding as it should be, that there is right action that is taking place in all of our affairs. And embedded in this right action is the unconditional love for ourselves, knowing that I am one with God. And because I am one with God, because I am one with all that there is an expansion of consciousness. There's an expansion of my inner peace, my inner knowing that right and perfect order is taking place here, right now. I am restored, I am renewed, I am reinvigorated to move forward, to move up, in engaging in the experience of life. I allow my light to shine. I allow my light to illumine the path for those around me to embrace the light and to walk in that light and to allow my light to ignite their light. And their light ignites another light and another light and another light. And our entire space is filled with light, the light of love, the light of our inner success, the light of our limitless possibilities that are called forth moment by moment by moment. I declare that there is peace that is happening in the world right here and right now. I declare that all divisions, all blurring lines that have temporarily separated us from the recognition of our oneness with all life, those blurred lines are now becoming clear. And there is a realization that there's only one thing happening here, and that is spirit expressing as itself. And in that, we learn to appreciate and recognize the individual experience, our individuality that is brought to the table. And it's the recognition of our individuality that makes for a beautiful bouquet, or a beautiful spread, or a beautiful coming together, where each one recognizes and sees the divinity in the other. And I speak a word of blessing for spiritual communities and other places where people are gathering in the name and nature of the one love. Honoring those points where our paths travel parallel, honoring those points where our paths intersect, and honoring those places where the path tends to be a Y, and we are seemingly going in different directions. Recognizing that all paths lead back to this place that we call home. And home is simply our recognition of what resonates with each one of us as the oneness of life, that which is expressing itself individually as me and through me. I speak a word of blessing and healing for those who are experiencing transitions in life. Those transitions may include the physical absence of a loved one who has stepped off of this mortal plane into that next greater life, into eternality. Transitions may appear as seeking right livelihood that brings about safe and secure housing, safe and secure places for those who choose to be unhoused, safe and secure and right livelihood in the place of economic stability, financial stability, knowing that all of this is a grand idea in the mind of God, and that as we embrace this idea of wholeness and unconditional love for ourselves, it must manifest. And so for this and so much more, I am eternally grateful. Releasing this word, releasing this prayer, releasing this treatment back into that law, which always says yes. I just allow it to be. And if anything that I have said resonates with you in any way, let us seal it by saying, and so it is. I want to take this opportunity to recognize and celebrate the practitioners and the ministers here at the Monterey Center. We invite you to don't leave here with a problem. We have practitioners that will be available after service for a short prayer with you. You may also reach out to us. Our contact information is on our website and is also in our newsletter. And we have prayer request forms here in the sanctuary that you may fill out and leave in the treatment box. And we will treat over those prayer requests, again, declaring right order, right and perfect action, and the divine unfoldment of remembering I am one with God. Now is the opportunity for us to participate in the flow of circulation and the flow of our abundance. We have an abundance affirmation that I invite us to say together. I recognize the presence of God within as a source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in a life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the flow of uninterrupted abundance. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. And with deep, deep gratitude, I express my thanks and my appreciation for the ways that we continue to support our spiritual center. For those of you who are here in the sanctuary, we have a donation box that is on our hospitality table in the rear of the sanctuary. You may also mail in your contributions, and our mailing address is on the screen. You may text to give, and that number is on our screen. And you may also donate online at www.montereycsl.org. And so we appreciate and thank you for that. Just a couple of events. Today is our Love in Action. Are we meeting with Love in Action? Yes, Love in Action is meeting today. Invite you to join us for visioning. On Saturday mornings, we vision for our center. And this last Saturday, there were 4 of us on the call. And all 4 of us, the visioning experience was almost identical, especially when we asked the question, what is God's highest vision for the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living? It was like the first person that shared for the entire group. Very powerful experience. And we also have personal visioning here at the center on Saturday mornings. You may join us online for the Saturday visioning, and you may also join online for the Sunday visioning. And that information is in our newsletter. Third Sunday is Father's Day, and is also Soul Collage. And so practitioner Denise Kaku, who leads Soul Collage, has committed to being consistent. And so those who show up for Soul Collage will have the Soul Collage experience. And for those who have made Father's Day plans, enjoy time with your dad and with your family. Reminder, the Asilomar experience is happening this year. The Asilomar Conference Center at one point was the place where we had our annual summer conference for our organization, for Centers for Spiritual Living. And then the decision was made to rotate the conference to different parts of the country and different parts of the world, so that others who are not local would have that experience. And so this year, we're coming back to Asilomar. Registration information is is in our newsletter and is also online. The early bird registration is until I think June 15th is when early bird registration ends. And then on the last Sunday this month is our spiritual living discussion group. So we invite you to take advantage of those opportunities. And to our family that has joined us via Facebook and via YouTube, we appreciate you. We thank God for you. We invite you to hit the like button, and also share. And when you share, it only takes 4 words for the algorithms to expand our contact. And this is how we do our part in bringing Science of Mind out into the world. So remember, like, comment, and share. Share this love. Share what it is that you may have gained from our service today. And we invite you to join us next Sunday as we continue our theme for the month, Embracing Self-Care. And our topic will be balancing grief and joy. And so we say good morning to our Facebook and YouTube family. Those who are watching us via Zoom, continue to stay online.